Welcome to the Theory of Nothing podcast. I'm your co-host, Brian Wiora.
I'm your co-host, Chris Keene.
All right, episode 7, man.
Oh my God, lucky number 7.
I know. At this rate, we'll have 10 episodes by 2027. It'll be... We're sorry to our fans and our followers that we've been slow on these.
It's just we're kind of a big deal, the two of us.
Well, one of us is.
Nah, we both are.
Last night, I saw Chris Keene perform at the world-famous Comedy Store.
I did, yeah. I'm blowing up.
Yeah.
This city can't contain me.
It literally can't. He's touring nationally. You're touring internationally now.
I am. I'm an international touring comedian.
That is, it's a big deal.
I'm drawing millions around the globe.
Yeah. I'm a big deal in East Hollywood. That's where I'm a big deal.
It's a good place.
Not even north or west, just East Hollywood.
No, you're a big deal. Brian does all kinds of shows. He runs a comedy club. And he's constantly killing. He's getting thousands of likes on TikTok.
That's true. Actually, it's maybe not good for my mental health, but it's great for my dopamine levels. Every single like,
dude, it's so bad for mental health.
Is bad. But wait, hold on. You skip over this because last episode we talk about crowd work, theory of crowd work. Check that out, by the way, if you haven't yet. YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We talk about theory of crowd work, and last night I saw Chris Keene do some crowd work.
A little bit, yeah. I was engaging with the audience a lot. I don't know if it was crowd work, but yeah, I was engaging with the audience a lot.
And it went really well. I saw it. It went really well.
Yeah, I had fun. It's weird. I do, political comedy, satire, and when I tour with Jimmy Dore. His audience is a political audience. They're in tune with that. But if you just do a random show in LA, people have varying reactions, so they can pull back on some of the dark political jokes. So I've learned I'm trying to learn and get better at engaging with them and making them loosen up and realize it's okay to laugh at things.
Yeah. You phrase this a lot as people needing permission to laugh.
It feels like they need that permission to laugh.
Right.
In LA, I haven't noticed this outside of LA.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is. I think it's a cultural thing. One thing that I realized, and I feel like we're off topic now for what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, but my friend Justin McHugh, very funny comic, made me realize something. The way I do comedy, it's satire, and I'm often being sarcastic, and it's weird where I feel like a lot of people don't understand sarcasm sometimes. Like, I say something ridiculous, like I have a joke, send homeless people to Ukraine, and people are like, is he serious? Like,
well,
does
I don't know
he
how
really
ridiculous
want...
that is.
Oh yeah, Brian likes that idea, but like people act like I'm being serious. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm saying it in this kind of sarcastic way, but our culture right now is so sensitive about everything that they're like, wait, what? We're gonna set? You know what I mean?
Sure.
They don't understand sarcasm.
Well, sensitivity is one way to view that. But actually, there is a way that this relates to what we're going to talk about today. Because I also think that a lot of sincerity is viewed as cultural currency now, right? Like, being very sincere is sort of the dominant fashion and style in media a lot of times nowadays. With stand-up comics, we expect them to almost be like autobiographers, non-fiction writers. That sort of thing. The reason why podcasts are really big now, the reason why, I think a lot of people are expecting truth in whatever sort of manifestation that takes right now.
Yeah, and they're expecting them to be like these morally righteous people.
Sure, yes.
Which is not, comedians are, I feel like, notoriously not. We're just kind of messed up people in different ways, Somehow, it's like everyone is. But
you have a microphone and you are a moral expert.
Yeah, I don't know how that. I don't know who is a moral expert.
Sure.
Who would you say is a? I would say no one is a moral expert.
I was going to say myself, but I think a lot of this is also related to what we're going to talk about today, which is media consumption. Today's topic is the theory of media consumption.
Yes, because that has changed a lot over the past 20 years.
It's changed a lot over the past 5 years. It's changed a lot over the past year, I would say, even to a certain extent. And look, there's a lot of things we're going to talk about today. I'm sure we're going to talk about politics very explicitly. But the place I want to start, actually, this conversation is something that you and I talk a lot about and is very relevant in our lives. I want to start with music.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a very tangible place where the consumption of media has changed. Where I kind of wanted to start is by the fact that, there's a lot of significant material changes that have occurred with media over time. Music media specifically. Music media began, really, if we wanted to start, as a live thing, right? And then once they figured out how to record it, on gramophones, vinyl became the thing. Then, from vinyl came cassettes, and from cassettes came CDs, and from CDs now we have streaming and all of that stuff. But let's start here, because this is a good place, I think, for you and I to begin a conversation about this. Because ultimately, now we have every song we've ever wanted in our pocket.
Yeah. Which
would have been crazy to someone 20 years ago. It would have been really, really crazy to someone like 50 years ago, right? Incomprehensibly so. So I guess, though, I think you and I have talked about this, that you and I, though, prefer vinyl.
Yeah, I like vinyl. I also like cassettes and CDs.
Yeah.
They all have their own vibe. I think it's fun to listen to the music on the platform it came out, and but I also like, I don't know, you can do it different, but
sure.
I like listening to, if it's 60s, 70s, listen on vinyl, or 50s, listen on vinyl.
Yeah.
It's fun to listen to 80s on cassette.
Yeah.
Or 90s stuff on CDs.
Sure.
I don't know why. Maybe that's just a me thing. Even for movies, if I watch an 80s or 90s movie, it's fun to watch it on VHS to me.
Yeah.
But everyone isn't like this.
Sure. What do you think it is about that? Because I've got a theory about it, but I want to hear what your thoughts are.
I don't know. It adds to the feel that you're in the time of the movie and the place where it took place, and it adds to the whole experience of it.
Right.
It's just a different experience than just streaming on your phone. And actually, what you said made me think of something I realized recently about the streaming thing with music. And younger people won't understand this, and they'll say I'm some boomer or something.
Yeah.
But it really has robbed us of joy.
Okay.
It really has.
Wow.
Man.
A big swing here.
It's sad that younger people will not understand this.
Will not understand joy?
No, understand what I mean when I say this.
Okay.
But there was such a joy to not being able to just pull up a song. The joy that you felt when a song that you love just came on the radio finally, and you were like, oh, if I finally get to hear this is so exciting. You had to wait for it to come on the radio.
Sure.
To, if the new Green Day song came out, or Smashing Pumpkins, how excited I was when the video came on MTV.
Right.
It wasn't just at my fingertip. Also, going to the record store and having to get my album. There was certain joy in that you just don't get when. That's why people spend hours scrolling through instead of watching a movie.
Yeah.
Some people spend an hour or two scrolling
through Netflix.
Oh, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch that. It's so sad. It's such a sad. I've done it too. I'm not shitting on it, but it really has robbed a certain joy of experience with this stuff.
So let's talk about this. I'm so glad you brought this up, because our friends, and we've brought this up several times before, are in their early to mid 20s.
Yeah.
Guys like Misha and Shane and Nick, we just gave shout outs to. They'll never know, though. They don't listen to this podcast.
No, they don't.
So we could say whatever the fuck we wanted about them. It doesn't matter.
They're young, dumb, and full of.
Misha's maybe going to edit this podcast. He might not even hear this
no,
part.
He doesn't listen. He just clicks a button.
Anyways, so let's talk about the way music was made back then, and really the limitations of the format that music was made changed the way it was made, and subsequently, as you talk about, experienced. Because most people don't know this of that age range, that there was a certain time limit that an album could be. You know, if you wanted to make a vinyl record, 46 minutes, right? Side A, 23 minutes. Side B, 23 minutes. Mm-hmm. These people don't even know what I'm talking about with side A and side B, by the way.
Do they really not know
Probably
that?
Not.
Crazy.
But
I mean, imagine making singles like on a 7-inch. Then you're really limited.
Right. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, maybe. You know, that kind of stuff. You know, if you had more music than 46 minutes, you had to make a double album. Yeah. But then you needed an additional 46 minutes. It couldn't just be like, oh, I wanted one or two, you know, I have a 55-minute album. You couldn't do that. It'd have to be either 46 minutes or an hour and a half of music.
Well, I remember my friend had the Beatles' Hey Jude 7-inch single, and you had to turn it over to finish the song.
See, that's crazy. That is such an incomprehensible thing now.
Yes.
It's such an but it's also so I think that we think about this thing if you hear about this, like there will be people maybe who are listening to this is the first time they're hearing about this. They'll be like, oh, what a limitation it is. It's actually ended up kind of working as a benefit to some of these albums, because you as an artist had to be super particular about what you wanted included on the record. And I think the reason why we think that 60s and 70s music and albums specifically are better is not just because we're old or whatever. It's because there are a lot of albums now that have a lot of bad songs on them. They might be good albums, by the way, but they just have filler songs because they can. There's no limitation on the number of songs or the amount of time that an album could be. Back then there was.
Well, also people aren't, I don't want to generalize, but I don't think people are listening to albums anymore.
Well,
not as much.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that too, is that you can get any song you want now.
Right. So like when an artist goes into the studio, a lot of them probably aren't thinking about crafting an album.
Yeah.
They're thinking
certainly not in the same way.
Yeah, not in the same way.
Right.
Exactly.
There might be still artists who think about things in terms of what tone, what character, what am I trying to say, what persona, things of that nature.
I mean, make fun of her all you want. Taylor Swift crafts albums.
Oh, I want to talk about Taylor.
She truly crafts an album.
I'm glad you brought her up. But there is another point I want to make about this, because an album that I was listening to on the way here was Thriller.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you listened to Thriller, by the way, recently, all the way through?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And no one, see, that's a great example. Like, I don't think of many people crafting an album like that. That meticulous.
Yeah, it was insanely meticulous.
Yes.
Every song on that album is like a greatest hit song, by the way.
Well, that was their goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's Want to Be Starting Something is the beginning. Then Baby Be Mine, which is the only song on the album that I feel like you can't write an essay about. You know, like that's the only song that you could maybe call a throwaway track. It's still a great track.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, it's very listenable. But the rest of them, because after that is The Girl Is Mine, with your favorite.
Paul kills me on that.
Yeah, with your favorite Paul McCartney.
It's a good song, but it's a little cheesy.
Then the title track, Thriller.
Yep.
Then Beat It.
It's great.
Then Billie Jean.
Amazing.
Then hold on, let's see if I can remember
Human
this.
Nature?
Then Human Nature.
That's one of the best.
Yeah. And then
what's happening?
The final song. I Love This Lady. What's that one called?
Isn't there 9 songs?
There are 9 songs on it. I'm missing one. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing.
There's some B-sides.
PYT, then The Lady in My Life.
Oh my god, PYT is so
PYT
good.
is great. So,
but there's a lot of B-sides from that are really good songs too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the B-side I think is better than the A-side on that album.
I mean, like songs that didn't make the album.
Oh, but okay, that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, so that album is 42 minutes long. Okay, and so maybe you could have thrown another song on there. You maybe could have thrown another 2-minute, 3-minute song, but like, why? You know?
Yeah.
Why? You risk making that album worse. and you risk running out of space. You can't have another 5-minute song on that album. It would have to be 2 or 3 minutes. So this is what I'm talking about with the limitations of the format actually serving to the advantage of it. If there's another song on Thriller, it's potentially a worse album.
Yeah.
You know, what makes it so great is that I think every song is really great. And then I think, like I said, Baby Be Mine's the only one that I feel like doesn't deserve like an entire documentary made about it. Like every other song.
I think I feel that way about The Girl Is Mine.
Oh, yeah. Well, but it's at least, okay, but you have to admit, The Girl Is Mine is at least very interesting.
That's one way to put it.
You know, having the McCartney-Jackson thing. You don't find that interesting?
I think if McCartney wasn't on it, I would like it more.
Well, but okay.
I don't know. I love Paul McCartney. I just think he makes.
How could you say that? How could you say you love Paul McCartney and not like his work with Michael Jackson?
Because he makes that song sound so goofy and stupid. Michael makes it sound great. He just doesn't.
Goofy and stupid.
Yeah. Like, I don't, like, shut up.
I don't know. I think it's these two guys who are in very different positions in life talking about how they would woo a woman. I feel like the bigger point here is, though, that, you know, we see this freedom in streaming of the album can be as long as it wants. You can make a 17-hour album now if you want.
What's funny, though, is are people doing that? They're not really doing that.
No, they're not.
Right?
They're not. But the limitations of vinyl, that 46 minutes, I think was really an advantage of it. And, you know, it changed the way art was created. It also changed the way art was consumed. You know, you talk about going up and flipping over the album. Mm-hmm. Well, that meant that if you're going to flip from the A side to the B side, whatever opened the B side had to be really strong.
Yeah.
It had to be a strong opener. And you got to think also a strong closer on the A side to get people to stand up and want to flip over the record.
Yeah. This is funny because I'm wearing a shirt right now of a very famous double album.
We'll talk about it.
It is a very long album.
Okay, talk about it.
Well, it's just funny because we're talking about the limitations,
right?
But then that did get blown apart because people did start making double albums.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, do you know this album?
I'm not familiar with the
Pumpkins?
I mean, I've heard of them.
Okay. It's a very interesting album. See, some people, it's this wild, crazy record. It's called, I mean, well, you like the White Album.
Yeah.
It's similar to that in, you know, in how crazy it is. Like, there's just so many different things happening on it.
Yeah.
Styles and all kinds of styles of songs. There's acoustic to the, like, metal to like, I don't even know how to describe it, but there's all different kinds of music on it, and it's amazing. It's like this explosion of creativity from these guys at that time. Now, their album before it, actually, maybe this speaks to your point. Their album before it is called Siamese Dream, and that is a very concise, produced album where it all fits together and sounds the same.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just this explosion of creativity and all these different genres thrown together.
Yeah.
And it's almost like listening to, let's think, something. Okay, it's almost like listening to Revolver and then listening to the White Album.
Interesting.
Yeah, because the Revolver kind of has one sound, a lot of it.
Oh, really? I see it as a pretty eclectic album.
All right, what... Well, it's not as eclectic as the White Album.
Well, sure, and that's actually the White Album's great as a double album because there's so many different styles and so many different things going on with it.
It sounds like what
the Smashing Pumpkins is, and I think some albums should be double. I mean, actually, the best Beatles solo album, in my opinion, is All Things Must Pass by George Harrison, and that's a triple album. It was the first ever rock triple album, by the way. Because he had just had so many songs that were rejected by Lennon and McCartney.
I don't know that album very well, which is weird. Yeah, I'm a big Beatles fan. Is there a lot of different genres of music on there? Or is
not
it
really.
similar?
But what the story of that album is really just that George had all of these songs that were rejected by Lennon and McCartney, and so it was time to release them.
So a lot of the critiques I hear about double albums, whether it be this album, the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, or the White Album, or we could go down a laundry list of these albums, is that if they if they cut it down to a single album, it would have been a better album.
Yeah.
Because, you just cut the fat and you just get the best of the best.
Right.
That might be true, but I don't think it would be the same thing. It wouldn't be the same piece of work. It wouldn't have the same. There's something very mind-blowing about this huge explosion of creativity.
Well, and there's sort of a relationship between form and content, or style and substance here. The reason why the White Album works is because it's the White Album. It's a blank album cover, right? It's about kind of this all-encompassingness. This group just came back from a retreat in India and had so much to say about themselves and the world, and about who they were as a band. This was at a time when the Beatles didn't really understand what they were doing as a band.
Well, I wouldn't want. I don't think every song on the White Album is a fucking hit.
No.
There's definitely some stinkers on the White Album.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want it changed because it's all part of the piece.
It's part of the experience.
Yeah.
And I think that also you and I have actually had conversations about these, but the advantage of these physical limitations in the format is it also allows opportunities for things like medleys. You want to do a bunch of different songs. Okay, make them shorter, right? Like the Abbey Road medley.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best thing McCartney ever did, by the way, in his entire life, was the Abbey Road medley and how he's able to compress all of these different songs. Or if you listen to Pink Floyd albums like Dark Side of the Moon, how it's really not a bunch of it's really one song that are split up into a bunch of different tracks. But even with that album, that difference between side A and side B, you flip it over and you have Money that starts it's a banger song. You have to have a great song start side 2,
Do you like American Idiot?
Yeah.
You
the
do?
Album? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you must love that because that's kind of a medley album.
For sure. I mean, the Jesus is Suburbia.
Yeah. There's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Right. That's also an album that I feel like doesn't feel like it's made in 2003.
Really?
It feels like it's made in the late 70s.
That kind of makes sense.
Proto-punk era stuff.
That kind of makes sense because I feel like, I think Green Day is influenced pretty big time. Most people might not think this, but by The Who.
Yeah.
And so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
That they have a lot of influence from The Who.
So here's something I want to ask you about, though.
Yeah.
Because I was born in 1994. And
that was an amazing year for music.
Yeah.
And also
movies.
for movies.
And movies,
The music that year was insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look at the best albums and all that, the top albums.
You were born a little bit before that.
Yeah,
I won't
a little bit.
I won't say the year.
Do you want me to say?
What was the year? What was the year?
It was 1982, guys.
1982.
I'm old. I'm going to be dead soon.
And
you know what? Who cares?
All right, that's our podcast for today now.
What am I going to miss?
So, you grew up with what I sort of feel like is intermediary media on this. Cassettes, maybe laser discs. Were you familiar at all with laser discs?
The only time I experienced laser dicks, laser dicks, I do like.
Yes, we love laser discs.
Laser discs. The only time I experienced those was for some reason in public school, high school, middle school. For some reason, they would use a laser disc
for like lesson plans.
Yeah,
and stuff?
to show us movies. They would
funny.
wheel in the TV and they would use a laser. Why not just use like a VHS?
I don't know.
Why a laser disc?
So, what do you see? Because I grew up in the era of CDs, and then when the iPod came out, it was over, right? And but I really don't remember listening to cassette tapes very much. But you love them.
I love cassette tapes.
Talk to me about cassette tapes a little bit.
Well, my first experience with music was vinyl. My parents had vinyl, and they had like Michael Jackson, Bad. I would listen to that album nonstop when I'm like 6 years old. I would put it on. Then I would start getting cassette tapes when I was a kid. I got like Metallica, Master of Puppets. I had like a Motley Crue cassette tape. But when I really started getting into music, it was CDs. Mm-hmm. But did you say you wanted me to talk to you about cassette tapes?
Yeah, because to me that felt like a very transitional media form.
It was. I think you had to be, if you were a teenager in the 80s, it was probably a big part of your childhood. I'm too young for that.
Right.
But cassette tapes were still a big part of our life in the 90s because we would make mixtapes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so, yeah, you could just record onto the tape on a boombox thing and make someone a mixtape. My band, my high school band made tapes.
Okay.
That's how we spread our music.
Yeah.
Just recording onto a cassette tape.
The only thing I really know about them is that they would sometimes get unwound and you would wind it up with a pencil.
All the time, yeah. Yeah, they'd get fucked up. But yeah, cassette tapes, I mean, I'd had a Walkman, which is this, you play it and carry it around. Some of my favorite albums I first had on cassette tape, Tracy Chapman, her first album. My mom loved that album. So
yeah.
But again, I like listening to music from that era on cassette tapes, like 80s stuff on cassette tapes.
Okay.
But I like cassette tapes. What about but honestly, the biggest thing for me with music was probably CDs, because I really grew up in the 90s.
Yeah.
And CDs were fucking huge.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
CDs to me were also very transitional. Like, I don't see much of a difference between listening to an album on a CD versus streaming it.
I think there's a big difference.
What do you think it is?
The biggest thing to me, which is sad, that again, this is one of those things like where the joy is gone that people just don't get if you weren't there. Buying the album, taking it home, listening to it, and reading the lyrics, looking at the artwork.
Oh, right.
It was all part of the experience and of the statement the band was trying to make. And it was like, it meant so much to me to look at the art and read the lyrics and the liner notes of an album.
You know what? That is fair. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's crazy that
I haven't considered that.
Gone.
The best, my most prized possession, I think, in my life is I have a white vinyl white album. The Beatles, when they released it in '68, did a very limited press release of the white vinyl white albums.
Oh, wow.
And what's really cool about the one I own is it has all the original posters in it and all the original artwork and everything in it. Like, it's like if you could save one thing from a burning, house burning, sort of situation, I think the white vinyl white album is the thing.
That's very cool.
So that to me is...
But you grew up with mostly streaming, would you say?
Well... No, I would say that as a kid, I had the iPod.
It's funny, when that came out, I was convinced it was going to be a fad that would go away.
Right.
Kind of like 8-track tapes or something.
Sure.
But of course,
it became the future.
Yeah.
And so it was a combination of what you could get off the iTunes store and what you could buy. People forget this, that you'd have to buy. There wasn't a subscription-based service.
Oh, that's right.
You bought songs, and I can't believe no one's, by the way, done a documentary about this. I shouldn't say this publicly, but there are 6 viewers listening to this.
Yes.
How has there not been a documentary about the free song of the week from... Do you remember this on the iTunes store?
I never had an iPod.
Okay. Yeah. So on the iTunes store, you used to have to pay for each album or whatever, and it would download directly to your desktop, and you'd plug in your iPod, and then you'd download it onto your iPod.
Okay.
But there used to be one song every week that was free, okay? And having that song was like the best marketing maybe in the history of ever for music.
Okay.
Because you have the most amount of eyeballs and ears, and you have an incentive to download it because it's free. It's the only song on the store, in the iTunes store, that was free.
Do you remember any songs?
Of course. Daniel Powter's Bad Day was a free song.
I'd have to hear it. I'm sure I know it if I heard it.
There was so many of that genre of music. Check Yes Juliet.
I think of that
okay,
either.
this would have been probably a little bit after your time. There was a band called Boys Like Girls. They had a song called The Great Escape.
Dude.
That was a big deal.
I'm laughing because I grew up with a kid in that band.
Oh yeah?
They're from Massachusetts.
Okay.
Our bands played together when we were kids.
Okay.
And he went on to be in that band, so that's why I'm laughing.
Well, that was I remember downloading
like a
that
band
song.
called was. It's just funny because I knew this guy when we were kids.
All that sort of like emo pop stuff was in that. There were so many songs I got from the free song of the week, and it totally launched the careers of many people.
That's interesting. Well, it's funny you say that because people were so mad when U2 like dropped their album onto the
that was different though. That was
because that was like forced.
It was forced on you. This was you had the choice whether to download this song or not.
Yeah.
But I remember as a kid always wanting to check out what that free song, and the way you would know is there was a sample of it. So it was like a 20-second sample of this song. Mm-hmm. And there's gonna be a documentary about this because it was such a cultural thing to have that.
Yeah. What I'd like to talk about one thing, but do you have other stuff?
I have other stuff here, but I mean, you and I think and talk about music so much. Let's keep it going.
Well, I just find that what I wanted to talk about on this was how people's how our habits have changed and how that has affected art. And you had mentioned politics, but I mean, we don't have to get into that, but our habits have changed and it has affected our art consumption.
Yeah.
It's affected music, movies, politics.
Well, let's talk about it
society.
then, because the other stuff really.
And I think it's the phones that started it.
Let's but this is a good place to talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay. So albums don't matter as much anymore. And a large part of that is the phones and the streaming.
Yeah.
Because people don't sit down and put on an album anymore.
Right.
They just listen to a song here, a song there. But Taylor Swift's an interesting example, though, because I think people do listen to her albums.
Right.
And she makes a piece of art that people listen. It's weird to me that there's not more people like that. There is on an underground scale, but not in mainstream, like...
No, the goal now.
Kanye's a Nazi now. He's gone. Like, who else is?
Kanye used to be that way. Kendrick used to be that way.
Oh, Kendrick. I guess Kendrick is still that way.
Yeah, but overall, the goal of a song now is how short it can be. A little bit, like how clippable it is for TikTok and Instagram. And stuff.
I think the way I played in a band for 20 years, just so if people didn't know, but
everyone who's listening to this knows Mean Creek.
If you're a band today, the way you probably get seen is what you just said. You have to make some clip that can get seen on TikTok, which means you're trying to, and it's just like comedy too. You're trying to get someone's attention in 20 to 60 seconds,
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
I mean, you have to grab their attention in the first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then your clip your 20 to 60 second clip has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny to me that we went from the White Album or this album, which were these massive works of art, to 20 seconds. What should I like your band? It's so, and that has affected everything. Movies, for instance.
Yeah. I want
to
talk about movies, although let's save that for the end, because movies actually is something that I have a positive
and
note about
not
this.
To get too crazy here, but also politics and how we see, because we're judging all these serious issues on 20-second clips that we see here and there. But anyway, what were you saying?
Well, and what I'll say is that politicians and artists who do well now take advantage of that.
Yes.
Certain politicians I feel like are very clippable. And that's why they kind of blow up a little bit more.
It's also it's so much easier to do propaganda if you can just use a little 20-second clip.
Sure.
You can smear somebody very easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a perfect storm of hell.
Well, so, with social media and stuff, this is something you and I think about more than we'd like to. Because when you and I have a set now, that we actually have a comedy set, our first thought is, okay, what's a clip out of this? Or I won't speak for you. My first thought is, do I have a clip out of this?
No, I'm always like, I mean, I try to put together bits, and I'm like, of course it would be cool to have a clip. So yeah, I do think about that. But my experience with these clips is that they just don't get shared, and no one really cares at the end of the day.
Yeah, because the way that also, so for those of you that don't know this is interesting. Like, some of the way you get booked in stand-up comedy is based on how many Instagram followers you have or TikTok followers you have.
That is true.
And I am a little bit more of a defender of this philosophically than most, but it's not to say I don't see massive problems with it, with the model. And by the way, I'm a defender of it philosophically. I have 1,000, as of this recording, I've got 1,000 followers. I've got nothing. I've got no traction.
So do you like that it's like that? Is that what you're saying?
It potentially leaves open a more meritocracy element of it. In theory, the idea is it's about the quality of who you are as a comic more so than what connections you have in the industry, who your uncle was, etc.
Oh.
In theory. Now, what often ends up happening is that people, first of all, can pay to promote their clip and, pay for their influencers and whatever to repost their clip or whatever. And so money doesn't disappear from this. And also, by the way, the kinds of clips that tend to go viral, you and I talk a lot about this, the kinds of clips that tend to go viral in stand-up comedy or music or poetry or whatever the thing is, are not necessarily the strengths of the genre.
No. I'll spend all kinds of time creating a comedic thing, and no one will see it.
Yeah.
And then I'll make the dumbest video known to man, and for whatever reason that gets shared on social media more than anything. It's certainly not quality over.
Sure.
But the other thing is that what gets shared most on social media is when people get angry and are fighting in comment sections. Yeah. It's like hate boosts things more than love.
You've talked a lot about this with me.
Yeah, it's something I've noticed more so, especially recently. But
yeah, the idea of the algorithm pushing something is also kind of interesting. So, what do you want to do that will appease Instagram and TikTok? We're not doing it here, by the way. Whatever we're doing in this studio right now is not getting pushed by the algorithm. But there's that trade-off, right? There's the trade-off of I'm going to do this knowing that it's not going to get pushed by the algorithm and I'm doing it because I genuinely like it, or I'm going to do this thing and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I think it's going to get pushed by the algorithm.
Now, which one do you do, or do you do both?
Well, I have the advantage of really liking doing something on stage that the algorithm also tends to like, which is crowd work, right?
Yeah.
Crowd work tends to go viral because it almost feels a little bit like a magic trick.
Uh-huh.
And I think it feels more like a magic trick in person than it does. I think everything in stand-up comedy does.
Yeah.
But it's this element of I don't know where this is going and what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. When I post a clip that's something like comedian versus heckler, for example.
Yeah.
You are watching that being like, oh, is this going to go well? Is this not going to go well? Is this going to end up with me laughing or me being like, oh my God, this heckler attacked this comic kind of thing?
Uh-huh.
Whereas in just a normal material style joke, you kind of know where it's going. You might know the specifics of where it's going. In a good joke, you don't know the specifics of where it's going. But at the end, there's going to be a punchline that's going to get some laugh.
Yeah. That's interesting.
There's more of the element of the unexpected in a crowd work clip.
That made me think that it would be for some reason that made me think it would be funny to post bad crowd work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
People do it.
They do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like interactions that just go nowhere.
Willie Simon, friend of the pod, would love to have you on, Willie. I know you're listening.
Did we talk about Willie Simon? Last night I saw him at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about this?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay.
But he's done some crowd work that it's not bad crowd work, but it's sort of ironic or meta level crowd work that's super interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Have you seen this?
I don't know if I've seen it.
He's like, he'll go up to people who'll be like, so what do you guys do for a living? And then he'll go to another people and be like, how long have you guys been dating? And then he'll go to a third group of people who goes, so what are your thoughts on Israel-Palestine? And
okay.
It's just kind of, it's
Maybe
very
I
smart.
did see him do that.
It's really smart. I mean, everything Willie does is super smart. But I like that little crowd work bit.
He was doing new jokes, or I don't know if they were new jokes, but he was doing stuff at the store last night, and I loved it.
Well, so let's talk about the consumption of comedy for a second, because the way that people consume comedy online affects how people are at shows.
Yes.
I've noticed this. And this is, I think, related back to the very first thing we were talking about, which was your show last night.
Yes.
People think that the show is about them now.
I think so.
In audiences.
I think
you tour around the country. I don't know if this is such a big thing around the country.
In LA, it certainly is. Yeah, around the country. I mean, it's in different ways. If you do a show in Green Bay, Wisconsin, the crowd will maybe they'll shout out, right? But I think they're shouting out because they're from Green Bay and they're just like kind of having fun, and they're just like, they're not aware that, oh, if I'm at because they probably don't go to a ton of comedy shows in in places like that, so they're just having fun and they're being rowdy and they don't have reservations. In LA, people think it's about them because they're insufferable narcissists. That's the difference. And we're just as bad. We're on stage with a microphone.
Yeah.
So, but
here we're just having a conversation.
Exactly.
And we need microphones. Yeah.
But I will, in my defense, and I've said this before on this show, when I go to a comedy show, when I sit in the audience, it's not about me.
Yeah.
I'm there to see the show. I don't go, I've said this before, but someone's on stage talking to them about how their mom died. I'm not like, aren't you going to ask me what I do for a living? Right. Like, why aren't you talking to me? You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
But people in LA, that's how they act. It's like,
yeah, but I honestly kind of try to lean into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, all right, you want to make it about you, I'll make it about you. But you're not going to like maybe where I take it sometimes. And that's fun. That's a lot of fun for me on stage. It's a lot of fun for everyone else in the audience.
I love your clip that you posted recently with the straight guy.
Yeah.
That's a great
clip. Is. Yeah. It was fun because it's a way of like roasting people and making fun of people that doesn't feel mean.
Yeah.
And I hate mean comedy. I really do.
This is interesting, dude, as I love mean comedy, but there's a line of mean.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how to explain this, but I realized this recently. I like mean comedy, but as long as you don't go over the line.
Sure.
And I don't know if maybe the line is different for everybody.
Yeah.
But it's fun to like roast someone or to be mean in a way that's not truly degrading and insulting.
Yeah. But let's actually hold on. This is actually kind of interesting because this relates to our topic, theory of media consumption.
Yeah.
On TikTok, or Instagram Reels, if you see a comic you don't like, what do? This.
Of course.
You do this, right? Constantly. And for those of you that are listening, what I'm doing is I'm just imitating the scrolling thing.
Yes.
You just scroll past it. If you're at a show, you can't scroll past.
But that's interesting.
You can't scroll past someone.
Right.
So what do? That's where, especially if you've had a couple of drinks in you, which neither Chris and I drink, but if you've had a couple of drinks in you or you're just a particularly obnoxious person, you start to heckle and you start to get involved. You know why? Because you can't fucking scroll past that person.
Yeah. I find most people, though, just sit there silent, or they, they're going to groan, or they're going to, they don't want to be there.
Right.
Because most people don't have the balls to, like, confront people in person and, like, actually heckle.
Maybe. It depends on the person.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, that's true.
Well, one thing I was gonna say is if I see something I don't like, I scroll past. But we all know that there's a large group of people out there. They're the minority, but they're vocal, that don't seem to understand that you can do that, and they feel the need to tell somebody that they suck and you're ugly and fat and not funny and like. I have never made a mean comment on somebody's page ever.
Yeah.
I have you?
No. Well,
so what kind of
actually
all kinds of people do this.
I have, but kind of only like sarcastically, I think. Not actually.
To a friend or
yeah.
Oh, I'm not talking about friends.
Okay.
No, friends is fine.
Yeah.
I mean a fucking stranger, like Do you know how many shit comments I've gotten on my stuff? Like just people insulting me.
Well,
I got a hilarious one the other day.
Oh yeah. You can share it.
Okay. I can look it up or I can just paraphrase it.
Yeah, just paraphrase.
It was basically, I can find it in 1 second. Or maybe I can't find it in 1 second, guys. But it was a comment on one of my comedy videos. And it was like, there's no joke here. It's just hacky stuff to cover up for the fact that this guy went and performed for a bunch of fascists. That's literally what this guy said. So I know we throw these words around, fascist, racist, but apparently fascist now means anyone who has a different sense of humor than me. That's a fascist, according to this comment. Do you know how?
Which the irony being, of course, that definition of fascism is probably fascist in itself.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's
snake eating its tail.
That's the typical problem I have with the. A lot of the people that complain about fascism are some of the most intolerant people I've ever met.
Sure.
So it's very ironic. But anyway.
Well, so let's talk about like what the potential solution is, because this doesn't just affect comedy. It doesn't just affect music. I want to talk about movies here a little bit too.
It's kind of ruined the movie industry in a lot of ways.
So,
also
go ahead.
What were we talking about? We were talking about how everyone's in their little groups, and they've been entertainment and media has been siphoned off into little sections.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like for instance, Seinfeld. How many people watched that? 70, the finale,
right?
70 million. That doesn't happen anymore.
I mean, the only thing that gets as big ratings as like Seinfeld used to is like live sports events.
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't have shared culture anymore.
Right.
And that is very dangerous. That's part of why we're divided.
Yeah.
It's why we don't have things to relate to each other anymore.
Yeah, there is too much.
Yeah.
There's way too much. I mean, think about it. When Thriller was released in 1982, it was like a cultural event.
Yes.
When the Beatles would release albums, it was cultural events,
And again, it's taking away joy. That was fun.
Yeah.
Like people used to wait outside of a record store for an album to drop.
Oh, yeah.
Or Harry Potter books.
Right. Oh, Harry Potter.
People would go to midnight at Barnes
That's
and Noble
a good example.
or something.
Yeah.
Things like that, yeah.
Well, so with movies, it's kind of interesting because, there was an experience of going to a theater, right?
I love that.
And there was an experience of, it was a group experience. No one knew what was going to happen in the movie. And you and I recently watched some YouTube clips on the TV. Chris and I live together, for those of you that don't know, and we were doing our nightly snuggle.
Yes.
And we were watching people watch movies, which I know is like a weird thing to say out loud, but we were watching people watch the original Star Wars trilogy, and the specific moment where it's revealed that Vader is Luke's father.
All right. Yeah.
And people had camcorders there, bootleggers kind of. And hearing people's like audible reactions to it was just wild.
Yeah.
It was just absolutely wild. The group shared experience of that.
Yeah. I definitely miss that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And there are other really famous examples of it. Like in Wizard of Oz, which, by the way, here's a little fun trivia fact for you. I don't know if you knew this. The Wizard of Oz is the most viewed movie ever.
Still?
Yeah.
Wow.
More people on planet Earth have seen The Wizard of Oz than any other movie.
Damn. I haven't seen it in a long time.
But you've seen it.
We should watch it. And we should do you know about this?
The Dark Side of the Moon thing?
Okay,
yeah. I've done it.
I think I've done it.
It works a lot better if you're really high. I'll say that.
I'm not gonna do that, but I would watch it.
I wouldn't do that either, but the point is that it doesn't really work.
Really?
It doesn't really work. Now
you have to start it when the lion
No.
roars,
It doesn't. It only works if you're like reading too much into it.
Well, let's do it anyway.
There's a very funny.
Maybe let's make our own. Let's pair a movie with a song and make our own.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We could do like a live podcast about it. What's really funny is there was a really funny YouTuber who figured out that actually Dark Side of the Moon works better you're gonna think this is a joke, but it's real. The Dark Side of the Moon works better with Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
That's very funny.
That it actually works beautifully with that movie.
That's hilarious.
But anyways, so.
But I want to talk about how this has affected our culture.
Yeah.
Like, and how people just don't have shared connections anymore.
Right.
And how shitty that is. And I think it's ruined art in a lot of ways. It's ruined our politics. It's ruined a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Because we just don't experience things together or feel the same way about them.
Can I potentially provide some hope for the future?
Yeah.
On this podcast, is that allowed?
Is it Donald J. Trump?
It's. We'll keep that in. It's harmless.
Oh, God.
So movies, I think, were an industry that were really affected by streaming culture, and then subsequently by the pandemic and stuff like that.
Yep.
But one of the most beautiful experiences of my lifetime was in 2023, summer of 2023, going to the Barbieheimer thing.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
That's funny.
That was a moment where I was like, oh, wait a minute, there's a way to do this. And the other, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's just that's such a rare thing now, though.
Sure.
I mean, things like that happened every fucking month, or, you know, in the 90s.
Yeah.
Every weekend almost in the 90s, there was a Barbieheimer.
Yeah.
Hyman. What is wrong with me today? I was just saying.
You're just to get sex on the mind.
Yeah,
I
got
don't know what to
sex on
tell
the
you.
mind.
But so I thought the Barbieheimer thing was cool. And then I really felt like, so there are a lot of like movie screening events, and maybe this is just because I live in LA, that are really cool. Like, for instance, I saw The Gold Rush on its 100th anniversary at the Egyptian Theater.
That's awesome.
And the cool thing about that is that it debuted 100 years ago at the Egyptian Theater and Chaplin was there.
Wow.
And so that felt like a cool experience.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm wearing a shirt of Tommy Wiseau right now. For those of you that are listening, you can't see it, but for those of you that are watching on our YouTube, you can see it. Tommy Wiseau made a movie called The Room.
I've actually never seen it.
That's crazy. So
Yeah.
The Room is what they call it, the Citizen Kane of bad cinema.
Yeah.
It is so bad of a movie that is actually kind of brilliant, and very incidentally. And
So this is like a Plan 9 from Outer Space?
Well,
Do
no.
you know that movie?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that
Okay.
movie. The difference between something like Plan 9 from Outer Space and The Room is the intentionality going into it.
Interesting.
There's nothing intentionally bad about the Room.
Well, Ed Wood wasn't trying to make a bad movie.
Well, but he was trying to make a sort of sci-fi
yeah.
type genre film, which naturally is going to lend itself to some more tropes and cliches of that genre.
Well, and he just didn't. I don't think he had much money.
Right.
So
Wiseau, on the other hand, there's a lot to say about here, and people listening to this will know this, like the story, and I can talk with you about it. But anyway, what is really amazing about this film is it's developed a cult around it.
Yeah.
And people will go do these screenings of the film. Actually, Tommy Wiseau will host these screenings of this film in various cities. I went to one of these screenings, by the way, and I met with Tommy. They actually asked me to do a Q&A with Tommy and to like be the interviewer.
Oh, cool.
And I was just a normal guy, at the time. And now I'm also a normal guy.
King of East Hollywood.
But in East Hollywood. It was really, really cool. And there's a lot of like weird traditions. I can explain. Well, when you see the movie, you'll see why. But there's a scene where everyone stands up and throws a spoon at the screen, a plastic spoon at the screen.
Oh, at the event?
Yeah, at the event itself. And so this maybe gives me a little bit of hope for the future, in that perhaps the future of these, whether it's an album release or a movie release or a whatever it is about the experience of watching it, the group experience of watching it.
Uh-huh.
That's why live sports has stayed super popular, because you don't know what's going to happen next, and it is a shared group experience.
So I have a way more pessimistic view of this.
Of course you do. Go ahead.
I feel the opposite of the way you do, which is that this is proof that we're not headed in a good direction.
Okay.
Because people will come out for group experiences, but it's usually for things in the past. For like they go out to old movies. You were just talking about old movies. I'm going to see They Live at the New Beverly tomorrow. I love going to the New Beverly to see old movies.
Right.
Let's see. Oasis just sold out.
Sure.
Thousands of people.
Yeah.
But that's a thing in the past.
Right.
And it's you know what doesn't make any sense to me?
What?
People will go out to these things and they'll be like, "Oh man, I missed that." But then they'll still sit at home and stream and not go out and not, do you know what I mean?
Well,
so what is that? Like I follow all these accounts that reminisce about like Blockbuster Video.
Yeah.
Oh, remember renting movies? Oh, I missed that. Are you going to go to a video store? No, man, I'm not going to go to the video store.
Right.
But man, do I miss that. Well, I'm just going to go on Amazon Prime. But
what you see as a tragedy, Chris, I see as an opportunity. I think as artists, we have to take advantage of this. If people are really yearning for group experiences and these lost group experiences, we can provide it to them. Stand-up comedy is a really good example of group experience, of a group experience.
That's true.
And it's an art form that necessitates it. You know, we got to wrap up here kind of soon.
Yeah.
Let me wrap up with something sort of light, casual, and fun. I want to talk about German philosophy for a second.
Okay. I don't know.
Are you
anything
okay with
about,
that?
Yeah, I don't know anything about
just something casual.
Wait, does this have to do with the Jews? Because I don't.
Not explicitly, although everything implicitly.
I don't know if you know German history. But,
yes.
Not good.
Well, depends on what you think of the Jews.
Misha, cut that.
No, keep it in.
Okay.
That's going to be the clip.
Yeah. And we'll tag Cole Klayman in it.
I don't know, by the way, if Misha's going to edit this, to be honest with you, but anyway.
That's okay.
All right. So there's a German philosopher named Walter Benjamin. Have you ever heard of him before?
No.
Okay. If you were...
There's this Austrian guy that I like a lot, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Have you heard of him?
If you were an English major in college, you would have read Walter Benjamin.
Okay.
I was not just an English major, but have a master's degree in English and half a PhD in English. So I've read a lot of Walter Benjamin.
Okay.
Because he was kind of the OG cultural critic. And he talks about art a lot and art objects. And he's obsessed with the idea of aura, art having a certain aura to it.
Oh.
And he wrote an essay that actually you would love. This is like one of the few academic essays I'd actually recommend to you.
Okay.
This is an essay called Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction.
Okay.
And what he was really concerned about was, how do we maintain the aura of a particular artwork if it can be reproduced? This is what he was really concerned about. Okay. And he was specifically concerned about film. And, you know, kind of one of his famous quotes here, and I'm obviously reading a translated version. I won't read it in the original German. But he sees a painter as a magician. But he sees a filmmaker as a surgeon. He's like, film necessarily cuts into the audience because it's constantly reproduced on these, you know, on these film strips. And he goes into a lot of reasons why. And look, Benjamin's very important, but he's also wrong, and I disagree with a lot of what he says.
So he's saying painting is like magic because it can only be done once,
right?
Whereas film is, what do you say?
Like a surgeon.
So it's not as special,
right?
It's not.
It doesn't maintain the aura of it. It's not, what he's obsessed is aura as authenticity. Like it's inauthentic if it can be reproduced. Which I don't agree with. But here's the part of this I will agree with, which is that from an audience perspective, the experience of watching something together is erratic, is authentic, and isn't reproducible. So,
but you can also get that with looking at a painting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, it's about, I think what we need to focus on as artists is the way in which the audience experiences what we're giving them. You know,
This works. This is very interesting, and it plays into, I think, how you view comedy and what you do with comedy.
For sure, for me, yes,
yes.
But I think everyone should. In this age, as Ben Hameen would say, in this age of mechanical reproduction, and now we have gone even beyond mechanical reproduction. We've gone past the mechanics of it, and we've gone to like artificial reproduction.
I know.
With AI.
That was one of my first thoughts when you brought that up.
Yeah. So, and we didn't really even get to that now, but maybe in the future we will. But like the idea of the art actually reproducing itself is very scary. And so what we have to think about is, okay, how do we create aura? How do we create this erratic experience? How do we create something that is authentic? And I think that audience, like, I can watch the Barbie movie 100 times by myself.
You could just check yourself into Guantanamo Bay too if you want.
But I don't know if I will ever get the aura of going and seeing it in that theater. Same with the Gold Rush, seeing it at the Egyptian Theater.
Yeah, one of my favorite things in the world is to go to the movie theater, and especially to go and see old movies.
Right.
And it's funny because a lot of people are like, don't like watching movies they've already seen.
Yeah.
I love that, especially to go to the theater.
Or like the first time I listened to Dark Side of the Moon, I remember exactly where I was. I remember now I was stoned when I did it, which is maybe the right way to do it. But you have that. Now, what I also want to say too, I want to do a quick plug, by the way. There's a place in Marina Del Rey that I have to take you.
Okay.
It's called the Old Town Music Hall. Have I ever told you about this place?
No.
The Old Town Music Hall is a movie theater that only plays old movies. And when they do silent films, they bring out the organ.
Oh.
And they play it with the organ.
Oh, you did tell me about this.
I remember going there and seeing an old movie and crying because it was so beautiful.
I want to go.
Yeah, no, I'll take you.
There's also a theater near where we live, the Beverly Hills Fine Arts Theater or something.
They do that? They do the organ?
No, but they show old movies.
Oh, I see.
I think they showed oh God, what's the movie we keep talking about watching and still haven't? Sunset Boulevard.
Oh.
They recently showed that.
Yeah, we have to watch Sunset. I can't believe you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so wrapping up here.
Yes.
Chris Keene.
Yeah.
What is the theory of media consumption?
Oh my God. I was getting nervous about you asking this because this conversation has been very detailed.
Yeah.
And I don't really know where to start with what the theory of media consumption is. Man, the theory of media consumption. I don't know. I think the way we consume things affects our humanity, our soul, our culture, and it has changed a lot. And it kind of scares me personally for where it is because we're consuming things now in these little snippets of 20 seconds and 60 seconds. And, you say that and people call you old.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I experienced life the other way, and I know there was a lot of joy to that is absent now.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. It's not because I'm old. I've experienced both things, and I know that had a lot of joy that is gone now. I would trade the convenience of this for the joy of that any day. So theory of media consumption is, but here's another part of the theory. I think it's always changing.
Yeah,
it's changed throughout time. And maybe, when the TV came out, old people were like, oh, it's going to rot your brain.
Right.
But this feels different, though. It really does feel...
Your phone.
Yeah, these phones and what it has done to us. TV didn't change the world. It didn't change how humans treat each other and interact. It kind of added a layer.
Yeah.
These phones and social media and AI has changed humanity.
Right.
TV didn't change humanity. Do you agree with that? Or?
I agree. My only difference between what you said and what I believe. And by the way, the best things that happen on this podcast is when I change my mind. And when you and I disagree. Part of what makes you and I such good friends, I think, is that we disagree. If we agreed on everything, we wouldn't be as good of friends.
Yeah, that's true, and it's weird that that's people don't do that.
That's the norm. No, that's not the norm.
Especially now, everyone for some reason thinks they need to agree on everything.
Right, which we talked about. We did a whole episode on this.
Yeah.
But the thing I'll disagree with you about is I think I have a little bit more hope for the future than you do on this front.
Okay.
I think that people will figure this out, and you and I have figured this out. And that's why we do stand-up comedy. But that there is something kind of magical about that group shared experience. And it's possible in the age of TikTok and Instagram, it's possible to preserve that.
It seems to be, I don't want to get, I feel we're being optimistic at all, but I think people do have a desire. They miss that.
Right.
And they have a desire for it.
Yeah.
So hopefully it will get figured out and will come around again. I do think people are sick of just being isolated and glued to their phone.
Yeah.
I do think they're wanting more group shared things. Yeah.
Well, we did it.
Okay.
We fixed culture and society and everything in one episode.
Yeah, it's all perfect.
No, but we do appreciate all of you tuning in. Let us know in the comments what you think about all of this stuff. What do you think about the way that media is consumed? We didn't talk a lot about podcasts or radio, but let us know what you think about that stuff too. As always, you can find us on Instagram, Spotify, TikTok, wherever you consume media. We will be there. Chris, you got anything to plug?
I'll be at the Irvine Improv on October 19. I don't know, nothing else right now, really. I just got done with a bunch of stuff.
I'll be at the Hollywood Improv on October the 14th.
Oh, I want to come.
Which this will probably be released after that.
That's true.
I've got my monthly show at the Ice House. Although, ironically, we are not in October of this year. We will be doing that show in early November instead. We did late August, so we decided
What day in November?
November the 7th.
Okay.
We will be at the Ice House. This is something that's very cool for me. I'm doing a 30-minute set in Venice on October the 18th.
Awesome, dude.
30 minutes.
That's amazing.
It's going to be 27 minutes of crowd work and one joke. is what I think it will be.
It'll be fun.
No, but as always, and come check out the Zebra Room. If you, I'll phrase it like this: if you come to the Zebra Room and you say you came here from this podcast, I will give you something for free.
You're not going to want to know what the
free mic, or a free ticket to a show, or a free bag of chips, or a free hug from Shane Morgan. Whatever it is.
Don't know who that is.
Yeah. All right. Until next time. Thanks for watching, guys.